I'm Bo Hardy. This video is for consumers that are currently enrolled in Easterseals of the Birmingham Area's Job Readiness class. I'm going to talk in this first video about interpersonal skills. We use a list of 10 interpersonal skills that we think it is very important for consumers to focus on in Job Readiness class. Number 1 is verbal communication. Number 2 is nonverbal communication. Number 3 is listening skills. Number 4 is questioning. Number 5 is manners. Number 6 is problem solving. Number 7 is social awareness. Number 8, self-management. Number 9, responsibility and accountability. And then number 10 is assertiveness. Verbal communication you can consider in several ways. I like to think of verbal communication as something as simple as just talking to one another in the workplace or at home or wherever. I think verbal communication could also be written communication, as in your employer's giving you out handouts or something like that. Nonverbal communication is underrated and underestimated according to your handout. People that can communicate nonverbally can communicate better, in my opinion. And it's really important to be able to interpret nonverbal communication. It might be body language, it might be eye contact, it might be facial expression, even the handshake could be considered nonverbal communication. Number 3 is listening. Listening skills are very, very important. And this is really appropriate to talk about listening skills since we've already talked about verbal communication and nonverbal communication. Listening is very, very important because without listening, how can we respond appropriately? Number 4 is questioning. Questioning is a lost art. There are many, many ways that you could use questioning to be of assistance in the workplace or in other ways. Questioning is something that builds on listening, but it's not just a device used for getting information. Questioning is a great way just to start a conversation with somebody. If there is a person you want to talk to, go up and ask them a question. It's a great way to start a conversation or to get to know that person. Now, the things you need to consider on questioning are closed questions and open-ended questions. Closed questioning would require just a yes or no answer. Just a simple yes or no or a one-word answer. Open-ended questions could be a much longer answer. It might be, where do you think we can improve our marketing or something like that? But questions that don't have just a short answer. All right? Now, number 5 is manners. Here in the South, we think manners are very, very important. We call a lot of times people yes ma'am or say yes ma'am and yes sir. Even as adults, we still use those things. Or we say Mr. Johnson or Mrs. Smith, even though we are on the same level as that person in the workplace. It's just a way of being respectful to others. So we think of that as being very, very important. Number 6 is problem solving. Problem solving is extremely important to employers when they're hiring people. It would be rare to have a day without problems. We all have problems every day, and your employer wants someone that when they bring that person in, every time there's a problem, the employer doesn't hear a knock on their door and they need help. Employers want people that can solve problems, even if it's just small problems, not necessarily big problems that you would need help with, but employers want people that can solve problems. Number 7 is social awareness. Social awareness is being aware of how other people are feeling in the room. It is being aware of other people's feelings about what is happening in the room. Maybe it's you're telling a story and it's going on too long, or you're standing with a group of people and somebody's trying to tell everyone a story and people are instead looking at their watches and shuffling their feet and trying to get away. Social awareness is being aware, if you're the one telling the story, that that is what's happening. Number 8 is self-management. Self-management allows us to control our emotions when they're not appropriate for the situation. That means that when we're angry, when we're frustrated, especially in the workplace, that we can control that emotion and not let it get the best of us and handle things and situations appropriately. Number 9, responsibility and accountability. It's really hard for us to hold ourselves accountable for our actions, especially if it's something that we're sad that we did or if we make mistakes. But that's very important. And it's one of the most difficult things to do, personally and professionally. And being responsible for our actions is also a similar concept, but being responsible for the things that are our duties and our jobs, very, very important in the workplace. And the last thing on our list is assertiveness. Now, we will spend more time talking about this later, but assertiveness is being able to say what we want to say to another person without being disrespectful or hurting someone's feelings because of the situation, and just being able to stand up for ourselves in some ways. And we'll talk more about that later on. So all of these things together can allow you to handle a lot of situations in the workplace more effectively. You need listening skills to balance assertiveness, nonverbal communication to balance questioning, etc., etc. So nobody is perfect, but learning these skills is a work in progress. We can get better at these things. So some questions that we would discuss in class might be, number 1, are there other skills that you think could be added to that list? And that's something that we would spend some time talking about. Number 2, which skill or skills on the list are strengths for you? So which things are you really good at? And which are weaknesses? And number 3, which skill on this list would you most like to improve? And then how would you go about working on that skill? So if you're gonna fix that skill, you've got to have a way to work on it. It needs to be something you can look at and evaluate a few weeks down the road and say, yeah, my listening skills got better, or yeah, my verbal communication skills got better. So that's something really to think about. So that's our list of 10 things. There will be more information to come. So please look over that list, and I hope this is very helpful.